Welcome back to Sean and Sheba. Today I want to draw a clear contrast. China once held a winning hand. Over time, that hand slipped. At the same time, Vietnam moved faster on reforms. Real reforms, root-level reforms, not just new slogans or short-term campaigns. Here is the core question for this episode. Without political and judicial reform, can any country keep its economic gains? My answer is no. Let me explain why, step by step. First, a quick rewind. Around 2012, global views on China were very positive. Huge market, strong supply chains, deep talent pools, capital flowing in. It looked like a sure path forward, but fast forward to now. Confidence has faded. Capital has moved out. Supply chains have started to diversify. Official voices often say the problem is poor implementation. They point to slow local offices. They blame bad execution. When every failure is blamed on the lowest level, the real problem is higher up. It is the system. Power is too concentrated. Checks are too weak. The legal environment feels uncertain. In that climate, people avoid risk. They delay new projects. They protect what they already have. They stop building for the long term. Here's the key point. Without reliable rules, economic dividends do not last. Now let's look at Vietnam. Vietnam's recent moves are not just small administrative fixes. They aim at the foundations. I see 7 major tracks. Track 1, stronger property rights. Rights that last. Rights that you can trade. Rights that you can use as collateral. For families and companies, this means you can plan, you can invest, you can pass assets to the next generation. Imagine you buy a small factory, you improve it, you borrow against it to expand. If your rights are clear and predictable, you can take that leap. If your rights are fuzzy, you hold back, you wait, you miss chances. Track 2, education that opens doors. More providers are allowed. Some are private, some are foreign. Curricula are more diverse, credits are more flexible. This breaks the single textbook bubble. It creates options for students with different goals. Education reforms do not pay off overnight, but in 10 to 20 years, they change a nation's capacity. They shape how people think, learn, and build. Track 3, a slimmer state and a clearer market. Cut overlaps, trim redundancies, redefine roles. Government should write rules and deliver public services. Companies should compete, innovate, and create value. When these lanes are clear, results improve. Think of a highway with clean markings, fewer crashes, faster travel, less confusion. Track 4, more predictable courts. Vietnam is sending a message about judicial independence and clarity. Courts answer to the law, not to politics. Investors watch that closely. When rules are predictable, they lower the risk they price in. Longer projects become possible. Disputes can be resolved without panic. Track 5, depersonalizing the system. Place the role of the armed forces clearly within legal frameworks. Reduce uncertainty, signal stability. This helps both citizens and foreign partners trust the future. Track 6, high openness to the world. Vietnam is not only chasing foreign markets, it is aligning domestic rules with international standards. That creates discipline at home. It plugs the economy into higher tiers of global value chains. It means new partners can plug in more easily. Track 7, tighter links between schools and industry. Vocational schools connect with employers, universities connect with employers, students learn what the market needs. Firms help shape the skills they need. Young people see a path from classroom to career. Put these 7 tracks together and a theme emerges. Institutionalization, rule of law, international alignment. If Vietnam stays on this path, the payoff compounds. Not in a single year, but steadily, year after year. Now, many people hear reform and think economics, lower taxes, fewer permits, faster approvals. Those tools help, but they are not the engine. The engine sits deeper. It starts with education and the judiciary. Education shapes how a society thinks. If there is only one authorized answer, everything looks neat at first. But over time, error correction dies. People stop comparing ideas. They stop challenging claims. They stop practicing logic. Open education changes this. Multiple sources, multiple paths. Students learn to compare, verify, and decide. That is the base of modern citizenship and the base of modern industry. The judiciary is the last line of protection. Property and contracts need a trusted referee. If your case goes to court, you need a predictable ruling. You need a fair timeline. You need the law to matter more than political weather. When that is true, foreign capital reduces its risk discount. Domestic capital builds for the long term. Industrial upgrades move from talk to reality. Let me give you a simple picture. 2 companies sign a 5-year supply deal. In year 2, costs spike, and one side tries to walk away. In an uncertain system, both sides race to find protection. They hoard cash, they delay investment, they lawyer up, projects stall. In a predictable system, both sides know the likely outcome. They negotiate seriously, they keep building, they plan the next 5 years, not just the next 5 weeks. So here is the one-line summary. Without education and judicial reform, economic reform is a sprint with no finish. With them, you can run a marathon. Now, a note on dignity and people. Economies that treat people as disposable do not go far. Sometimes we hear, look at the luxury cars and apartments. That is wealth. Number A, few purchases at the top do not define the nation's strength. Opportunity for the many does. When workers are easy to replace, wages stagnate, skills go unused, value stays low. The fix is not a new campaign. The fix is certainty and a path upward. Clear property rights, reliable courts, plural, competitive education, transparent, stable market rules. Together, these signals say one thing: people matter. Let's talk about resistance. Any real reform touches incumbents. It meets pushback. There will be friction inside the system. There will be geopolitical noise. There will be ideological fights. Vietnam will face all of this. The difference comes down to three things: a timetable that outlasts one news cycle, institutional limits on power that hold under stress, and a broad social consensus that reform is worth the pain. I will not try to predict short-term bumps, but I trust one rule. When power is kept inside institutions, long-term returns are higher. When decisions depend on luck or personal discretion, dividends fade. Now, what is the lesson for China? If China wants to reshuffle a losing hand into a winning one, it must start with the system. Protect property rights with predictability, make courts answer only to the law, keep government and markets in their lanes. Let education return to diversity and healthy competition. Economic policy can deliver quick wins. Only political and judicial reform can preserve those wins. That is not an emotional claim. It matches what we have seen across many countries over many decades. Let's look ahead 15 years. If Vietnam stays on this course, we will see structural change. More capacity, more R&D, talent that stays and talent that returns. Lower capital costs, better terms in global partnerships. Supply chains do not move by guesswork. They go where rules are friendly and the future is clear. For China, rebuilding confidence is not about a new slogan. It is about a new track. Put people at the center of institutions. Push power to the edges of institutions. Make the rules stable, open, and fair. That is how dividends last. That is how opportunity grows. Opportunity. That is how a winning hand gets played well. Before we close, here's a brief recap. 1. Rules beat slogans. 2. Education and courts are the engine. 3. Treat people as assets, not tools. 4. Keep power inside institutions. 5. Commit for 15 years, not 15 months. If these sound simple, that is the point. Good systems are simple to describe and hard to break. They turn effort into progress. They turn progress into trust, and trust into growth that lasts. What do you think about Vietnam's current reform push? How far can any economic reform go without political and judicial change? Leave a comment and share your view. I will pick a few for the next episode. If this was useful, please like, subscribe, and share with friends who care about these issues. Sean and Sheba, I will see you next time. Ciao.